Thank you for that very gracious welcome. Thank you, Brittany. It's nice to hear that, especially from someone who worked for you, that they admire and respect you that way. I guess it speaks well of me. It is an honor to be here, and I want to start by saying that, as many of you know, our founding fathers established this country with our founding charters that expressed certain principles. One of them mainly was that our rights come from the hand of God Almighty, from the hand of God everlasting, and that those rights were inalienable, that they could not be taken away, that they were indivisible, that they could not be fractured, that they were universal, that they belonged to everybody, and that those rights were interdependent. That is to say that one right depended on the other, whether that was economic freedom, the freedom of expression and speech, freedom of the press, freedom of consciousness, the right to be free of warrantless searches. And it was, in a very real way, our founding fathers saying, when it came to the free market and what they established on individualism, that we don't know what does it for you. You have to figure it out. That you go out there and you make your life, and that you achieve your aspirations and your dreams. Not our dreams, not the dreams of a politician, not the aspirations of government, but your very own. And it was those principles, it was that concept that made America the strongest, most prosperous country in the world. That everybody, through their individualism, can achieve their dreams. Because they understood one simple fact, that it is only through the sufficiency and the accumulation of capital that you can advance and pursue charitable purposes, ministerial activities, achieve personal goals. It is only through the accumulation of capital, and capital that you pass on to your children, that you can achieve your dreams. That is the American dream. And my parents knew that. My parents saw America as the promised land. That song that says they came to the mountaintop and they looked across the valley. It was a rich green valley with a river running through it. There was work for every single hand, they thought. There was work for every single hand. And that song that was talked about Tom Joad in The Grapes of Wrath was very real to them. America was the promised land, and they worked hard. I also got to tell you, times were tough for my parents as farm workers. Picking grapes in California, apples, pears, peaches, cherries in Washington State, hoeing beets in Nebraska. And my brother and I were right there with him along the way. And my aunts and my uncles had come to America, and they had also saw America the same way my parents did, and my cousins were also farm workers. And I can recall on one occasion when my father, who was asked if he could ask for a raise for the rest of the crew, because they didn't speak English, and my father did, very broken English, but my father said, yes, I'll go ask the boss. And to make a long story short, the boss said, I'll tell you what, Adam, I'll give the crew that raise, but here's a check. Here's your last check, and I want you to get off my property. And so I saw my father get fired in front of me for asking for a raise. And what I want to say by that is that the free market system will kick you in the teeth. The free market system requires sacrifice and resiliency. And still, it is the best economic system in the world. In the world. I stand here today to tell you that after that sacrifice and that hard work and that resiliency, my parents are part of the 1% most wealthiest people in the world. I am part of the 1% most wealthiest people in the world. My brother and my two sisters are part of the 1% most wealthiest people in the world. My cousins and my uncles and aunts who came to America today, because of that hard work, are part of the 1% most wealthiest people in the world. And in fact, If you make over $36,000 a year, you are part of the 1% most wealthiest people in the world. Here's the thing about America. Yes. Here's the thing about America. Half of the world's 1% reside in America. 15 million Hispanics make over $50,000 a year in America. That is a testament to the free market system. America is 5% of the world's population, yet we have 1/3 of the world's millionaires. I don't know if you knew this. 86% of America's millionaires are self-made. They did not inherit their money. Again, that is a testament to the free market system. And yet today, we want to erode the free market system. We want to destroy it. We want to impose heavier taxes and more regulations. We want government to grow because we see government now, or many of us, as the answer to every social ill under the sun. And people are promising that if we look to government, that government will be the benevolent aid that will take us out of whatever predicament. When in fact, it has failed everywhere. As Milton Friedman said, every time socialism is tried, it has failed. And every time we have tried capitalism, it has succeeded. You talk about inequality, and that's a big topic in the Latino community across the country. But here's the thing about inequality. If you want equality, you cannot have freedom. And if you want freedom, you cannot have equality. Why is that? Why is it inherent in a capitalist system, inequality? Because people have different talents. People have different skills. People have different ambitions. Some people like to work hard. Some people don't. Some people work harder for a bigger house or a nicer car, and some people won't. Some people have been working to age 70. Some people are 18 years of age. So in order to make everybody equal, you would need coercion to do that. You would have to redistribute somebody's earned wealth and give it to somebody else who didn't earn it. Instead of focusing on redistribution of people's earned wealth, we should focus on redistribution of knowledge and opportunity. It is equal opportunity that has made America strong and prosperous, and has made Americans strong and prosperous. It is equal opportunity that made my parents, who had a 4th grade education, who were farm workers, business owners, and my aunts and my uncles, business owners. And I was able to go off to college and succeed. And now my children have opportunity. That is what we must defend. That is what we must preserve and advance. Equal opportunity. So if you penalize hard work and reward non-work, well, don't be surprised if you get more non-workers. If someone has been successful in the marketplace, if someone is part of that 1%, it is because they have offered a product or a service that met consumer demand. It is because they innovated. But today, we call those folks greedy. We're having to defend capitalism in America. That's astonishing to many of us, especially those of us who came to America because we saw it as the promised land. If you talk about inequality, it is actually government that creates more inequality. Think about this. $3 trillion in quantitative easing that is centralized in Wall Street. $9 trillion in deficit spending in just this administration alone. And much of it has gone in earmarks, in cronyism, in grants and funding, in earmarks that have gone to the favored and the connected, to those who have contributed, to those who, frankly, have the ear of politicians. And it is the middle class, it is the little guy, actually, that has not seen that money. And so it is government that has induced inequality, not the private sector. The kind of inequality that the private sector generates is one that actually is because somebody worked hard and succeeded and offered a product or a service that met consumer demand. There's a huge difference in that. One is moral and one is immoral and one is corrupt. Let's call a spade a spade. But lately we have turned our backs on the free market system. The current administration argues that only by increasing taxes and expanding the army of federal bureaucrats and spiking government spending, we will see better days. The historical illiteracy of our young has allowed them to be hoodwinked by liberal professors and progressive politicians who teach them that to see socialism as a benevolent economic system that is more equitable and fair than capitalism. And my fear is that the conservative movement has been derelict of their duty, has committed political malpractice because we have not engaged minority communities enough. Of the 15 million Hispanics who make over $50,000 a year, over 40% of them voted for Mitt Romney. I don't know if you knew that. Evangelical Hispanics, over 40% of them voted for Mitt Romney. Here's something. In 2014, Latinos, Hispanics, voted 45% for Cory Gardner in Colorado, in a state which, by the way, Barack Obama won by 80% of the vote, and Michael Bennet won by 90% of the vote, of the Latino vote. What did Cory Gardner do to get 45%? He showed up. He engaged. He talked to them about economic opportunity. He talked to them about access to education and school choice and defending the free market system, and that Latinos have to rise up and become a vanguard for freedom. But it wasn't only Cory Gardner. Brownback and Roberts got over 40% of the vote in Kansas from the Latinos. Perdue and Deal in Georgia got 43% and 47% in Georgia of the Latino vote. Cornyn got 51% in Texas. Abbott got 44%. Scott got 45% in Florida, and Christie got 51% in New Jersey. Brian Sandoval, governor of Nevada, I keep hitting that, sorry. Brian Sandoval of Nevada got 73% of the overall vote. A lot of that had to do with Latinos. Susana Martinez got 66%. She flipped the House for the first time since the 1950s in New Mexico. They flipped the Senate in Colorado because of the Latino vote to Republican. They flipped the House and the Senate in Nevada for the first time since the 1920s because of the Latino vote. In a state where Reed and the unions are powerful, by the way. Carlos Curbelo, a Latino challenger, took out a Latino incumbent in District 26 in Florida. And here's the crown jewel of them all. A black Republican challenger took out a Latino incumbent Democrat in Texas 23, in a predominantly Hispanic district. If you advance the principles of economic freedom, you talk about economic opportunity and access to the American dream, and you engage Latinos where they are, in churches, in colleges, in chamber of commerces, at their events, if you earn their vote, you'll be rewarded. At the Libre Initiative, we're dedicated to advancing those principles, to defending the free market system, so that the next generation can have an opportunity to succeed. You see, you and I, we're interdependent. In order to have a thriving Latino community, you need a thriving America. And in order to have a thriving America, you need a thriving Latino community. We need each other. And united, we need to be defending the free market system so that we can remove barriers to opportunity, so that we can have prosperity, and that public policy allows people to thrive. I hope you'll join me. Thank you very much.